The first thing I noticed was my nails started changing color and they were becoming more brittle. And I thought that a good scrubbing and changing socks and shoes was going to help. And really, for a time, it seemed to help. Maybe it slowed the infection, but it really didn't pay off. I'm a tax consultant, by the way, and as work would pile up, I had less and less time, of course, to really properly take care of this infection. And, sometimes, I mean, especially during tax season, I wouldn't leave the office for 2 or 3 days. And I could see that the infection was spreading. And so obviously I took the next logical step and I went to a podiatrist. After a very brief examination, he recommended Lamisil, and it was, he said it's the best oral medication to treat the mold, the yeast, the fungal portion of the infection. And for a while, again, it seemed that the infection was slowing, stopping, and receding. But then the side effects started to kick in for me, and it was really kind of a surprise. At first, there was like a fever, and then these sudden chills, and I got joint pains, and I felt these sores in my mouth and throat, and I started I started losing weight, and I got patches on my skin that were turning purple. It was really awful. I think the last straw for me was I was getting this upper stomach pain, and I got loss of appetite and dark urine, and I even started developing jaundice, for crying out loud. The treatment wasn't working for me. It was destroying my liver faster than like a liter of vodka every day. So I decided, obviously, that I'd had enough of that. And I figured, well, what's the worst that a puny fungus can do to me? And then, the next thing I knew, I ended up in the hospital. I mean, truly, it was frightening, laying there on the hospital bed. And I didn't know what was worse, the treatment or the fungus. And I absolutely dreaded having to go back to Lamisil. And frankly, I'm not sure that it was a real option at the time. I thought I was going to die.
My toenail came off during football practice, right? I guess I must have bashed it up against something. Sure, yeah, it was painful at first, but when the pain did subside, I didn't think much of it at all. Didn't think it was a big deal. But a few days after, it started to itch, and the nail kept on falling off over and over again, only to grow back thicker and darker each time. When we hit the showers one day, one of the guys noticed it. Some made fun of it, while others, they were just too grossed out about it. The coach knew it was contagious and had me suspended from the team until I got it fixed. So I did the smart thing. The next day I went to the podiatrist and he gave me a prescription for Sporanox. Now, I couldn't wait to get rid of the fungus, so I followed the treatment to the letter. But as the fungus began to disappear, something became very wrong with me. Although I should have been happy that the treatment was working, I began feeling sad for no particular reason at all. I started to have trouble sleeping, and I was always tired, but worst of all was the fact that I had very little desire for sex, which is unheard of for a college athlete, right? You'd think, I'm in my prime, this felt awkward. So I tried to push myself to do it like before, and then something even more embarrassing happened. I just couldn't perform anymore, and it was definitely not the girl's fault. Lucky for me, she kept quiet about it, but you could imagine if this rumor spread, my life would have been over. I sank deeper and deeper into depression. I could not focus on anything at all. I prayed for the last day of treatment to come, and I couldn't wait to be off this medication finally. And when the day did come, I felt a joy I had never felt since starting the treatment. Everything seemed to be returning to normal until just 2 months later, the fungus was back. The news struck me like lightning. I thought the nightmare was over, and then it came back out of nowhere.
So what they don't tell you is that laser treatment costs $500 per session, and it will take multiple sessions to get this treatment to work. And while for some month I was actually fungus free, somehow it came back again. And I was so dissatisfied with this, I went straight to the treatment center to demand my money back, of course. So after arguing with the management, I would say for about 3 hours with no results in sight, I was on my way out, furious, when one of the nurses approached me and she told me she wasn't supposed to give me any other recommendations of any type, and if she was discovered doing this, she would be fired in an instant. But she recommended I visit a small natural treatment center on the outskirts of Los Angeles. She said that the treatment prescribed there had helped her permanently cure toe and nail fungus, but only if I was ready to try something truly unconventional.
At the beginning, I was skeptical about natural treatments, I thought everything besides our medical mainstream medical facilities, everything besides that was just a scam. But since I had already tried the Lamisil option, and it did more harm than good, I was willing to try something, anything else, and I think it saved my life.
The fungus nearly destroyed all I worked so hard to achieve. My sports career was hanging by a thread, my personal life ruined. I never thought such a small change would make all the difference. But I met Dr. Chang exactly at the right time, and he just turned it all around.
Having pure nails is something I thought was never possible when laser therapy failed. Amazingly, using Dr. Chang's formula, everything worked out, and it was so fast I could not believe it.
According to Wu Chang, there are natural treatments for toenail fungus lying inside your home right now. The only thing is that you had no idea what a godsend these are for your toes and nails. For instance, one of the best natural fungicides is baking soda, and amazingly, fat can be used against fungus instead of artificial and poisonous chemicals. Coconut oil is one of nature's strongest fungus fighters, and it will leave your skin feeling smoother and softer than ever before. As you can see, Chang has shown us how easy it is to permanently manage the nasty fungus that keeps coming back. You can get rid of the nasty toenail fungus with natural ingredients you can find at the supermarket. More than that, natural treatments are non-toxic, really cheap, and have none of the painful side effects of traditional drugs. Treating fungus patients with medications like Lamisil and Spornex is a $30+ billion industry, and traditional medicine has always been a thorn in their side, especially proven, time-tested, all-natural remedies. Because given a real choice, no one would go for pills with toxic chemicals that expose you to potentially life-threatening side effects. But they'd rather choose an all-natural, safe, and efficient method, just like Mr. Chang's.